Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be looking at the 11th and final season of The X-Files. So season 11 picks up where season 10 left off and focuses on Scully and Mulder's search for their son William. This season ended up being the show's last due to Gillian Anderson's desire to move on with her acting career, as well as Disney's merger with Fox, which in itself put any potential plans that Fox had for the X-Files franchise on hold. As for me, while I did find it to be an improvement over season 10, it still ended up being one of the weakest seasons overall in my opinion. And I don't think it was necessarily the strongest note for the show to end on. So let's get into it. So there's a lot to like about season 11 despite its flaws. Firstly, it comprised of 10 episodes, making it feel a bit more fleshed out and spacious compared to season 10. Out of those 10 episodes, at least 3 of them are mythology episodes, while the other 7 are all Monster of the Week stories. Stylistically, this season is a bit more in tune with the classic X-Files atmosphere, while still feeling like a modern Monster of the Week show. You know, the cinematography is just a little bit dimmer than season 10, and the directing is a bit more creative and varied. Out of the 3 mythology episodes, the one that I enjoyed the most was the second one, Ghoulie, which takes place in the middle of the season. In the episode, 2 teenagers attack each other, with each one believing the other to be a monster. Meanwhile, Scully is experiencing a form of sleep paralysis, and both of these events are connected in some way, which leads Scully and Mulder to William. This is one of 3 mythology episodes in the show's history that were cleverly disguised as Monster of the Week episodes, the other 2 being Red Museum from season 2 and The Gift from season 8. And it's through Ghoulie in particular that we learn a little bit more about William. And the majority of the Monster of the Week episodes are also pretty cool. You know, if you don't really care about the mythology all that much, then this season's got you covered as far as Monster of the Week stories are concerned. This focuses on an NSA simulation designed to come to life when its participants die. And Richard Langley, a member of the Lone Gunmen, makes a return this episode in a very creative way. Plus One is about a series of deaths in which the victims were stalked by their doppelgangers, as well as a pair of twins engaging in a deadly game of hangman. The Lost Art of Forehead Sweat, which is easily my favorite episode of the season, is a comedy episode about a man named Reginald Murgatroyd who meets with Scully and Mulder to discuss the Mandela effect, the perceived reality that Scully and Mulder live in, as well as the origins of the X-Files. That and a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo about parallel dimensions. It sounds weird at first, but it actually works. You know, it was downright hilarious, and it wasn't afraid to poke fun at former US President Donald Trump. So if the comedy episodes are your favorite episodes of the show, then I can highly recommend this one to you. But if you're into the scarier stuff, then I can also recommend Familiar, an episode in which Scully and Mulder investigate the brutal animal attack of a little boy in Connecticut. And while things seem straightforward at first, Scully and Mulder begin to suspect that darker forces are at play. While it was definitely inspired by the 2017 movie It was still bold enough to go in its own unique direction. And one of the highlights of the episode is Mr. Chuckleteeth, a creepy doll from a children's show of the same name. The remaining 3 Monster of the Week episodes are also pretty enjoyable, but I do have some issues with those, so I'll be discussing those in a bit. And the other 2 mythology episodes, that being the premiere episode and the finale, yeah, I have a lot of issues with both of those. So let's jump straight into that. So, the premiere and finale episodes, those being mythology episodes, titled My Struggle 3 and 4, were very underwhelming to say the least. My Struggle 3 is not only my least favorite episode of the season, but possibly my least favorite mythology episode ever. Why? Because it completely shatters the potential with the season 10 cliffhanger. On top of that, we get some revelations regarding long-term aspects of the mythology that were completely unnecessary and very, very frustrating. The other one, My Struggle 4, being not only the end to the season, but pretty much the ending to the show, left something to be desired. You know, the fates of some characters were disappointing, and while the ending can work as an end to the series, I still feel like there was a lot of wasted potential. You know, especially when it comes to the mythology and aliens and the colonization and all that kind of stuff. It felt like we never got to see what we all really wanted to see. Aside from the mythology stuff, the 3 Monster of the Week episodes I haven't talked about were enjoyable, but they just weren't as good as the rest. Kitten is an episode that ties into Skinner's past, and it features Haley Joel Osment as well. But I don't think you could call an episode like this an X-File, and the climax was kinda lame also. Followers, which has one of the funniest titles I've ever seen, you know, it's like a binary code if I'm correct, see Scully and Mulder dine in a fully automated sushi restaurant. However, the technology itself starts to glitch, and things just get chaotic from there. While I do like the concept, and there was some underlying subtext about technology and AI and all that kind of stuff, I felt that the subtext was a bit too heavy-handed and on the nose. The novelty of the concept begins to wear off after about 20 minutes, and it's never really explained how Scully and Mulder ended up in a scenario like this. It may be my least favorite episode of the season, but it's still decent regardless. And props to Christina Cloak for co-writing this episode. I'm sure most of you remember her as Laura Means from season 2 of Millennium. Yeah, she co-wrote this one. And Nothing Lasts Forever is a cult story that involves an age reversal process. It was creepy and gory where it needed to be, but it also didn't really do enough to justify calling itself an X-File. So yeah, those are my thoughts on season 11 of The X-Files, and I believe this brings my X-Files retrospective to a close. As for the future of the franchise, I'm kind of disappointed that the animated spin-off, The X-Files Albuquerque, isn't happening, and I am mildly interested in the upcoming reboot, which is being developed by Ryan Coogler of Black Panther fame. But things just won't be the same without Scully and Mulder. And when I say Scully and Mulder, I'm specifically referring to David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson. But I will say that despite all of its flaws, The X-Files is still a great show. So next time I'm going to be ranking the entire X-Files franchise, so look forward to that very soon. Thank you all for watching, guys. Please be sure to like the video, share it and subscribe. Ring the bell, take care, and I'll see you soon.